Hey, what's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to this new video. And today's video is going to be all about crucible weapons. The Trials rework is going to be later this week. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about what are some of the most popular and meta weapons that you can be using this episode. We're going to be taking a look at what are some of the best weapons, what makes them good, and most importantly, how to get them and what role you should be looking for in them. And the whole goal of this video is just to get you prepared for trials, so you know exactly what kind of weapons you're going to run into there. And also so you know what weapons are the best to take into trials. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you do, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel in case you guys aren't already. Now one thing that I do want to mention before this is that we're getting all our data from Destiny Tracker. They essentially keep track of all the weapons that get used in the Crucible, so that's where we're getting our data from. So let's not waste any more time, let's get started. And at number 10 we have the Battler, the legendary pulse rifle. Now this actually kind of surprised me. I expected to see the new Battler here, essentially the Battler 2.0, but it looks like the original Battler is still holding on and going strong in the top 10. Now this one has a usage rate of 1.05 in the Crucible, which at first doesn't really sound like a lot, but you gotta keep in mind that this is pretty much between all the weapons in the game in the Crucible, and there's tons and tons of weapons. So the Battler just being 1% of every weapon that's being used just in the game is actually pretty good. Now the Battler and some of the other lightweight frame pulse rifles actually got a lot better recently thanks to some buffs that made them a little more forgiving. Now this weapon, it is easy but also hard to get at the same time, because the activity itself is pretty easy. All you have to go is go into Dares of Eternity and you have a chance to get some Battlers to drop. But since you have a bunch of different loot in the Dares, getting an actual good Battler to drop can take a while. Now this is a craftable weapon, so once you have enough battlers, you could just use your deep sight harmonizers on them and actually craft a really good one, and you can get your god roll that way. So it's in this weird middle ground where it's really easy to get the weapon itself, but to get that really good weapon or a crafted version of the weapon does take quite a bit of effort. But it's still a fantastic pulse rifle and definitely one of the best ones in the game. I mean, the weapon was so good that Bungie essentially released the second one in the kinetic slot. And the role that you're going to be looking for on this weapon is going to be perpetual motion plus kill clip. You could also change out the perpetual motion for something like killing wind. That way, whenever you get a kill, you're going to be taking advantage of both kill clip and also killing wind. But both of those perks are going to work as long as you have kill clip. Kill clip is the big one here, because once you get a kill, this thing becomes a monster, being able to burst pretty much anybody that you run into, which then lets you get more kill clip, and it just keeps going and going and going, and it's going to be great. Now kill clip does lose a bit of its value when it comes to trials, since you don't get as many kills as you would in normal 6v6 modes, but it can definitely still be pretty useful. And if you're gonna be taking this weapon to both normal Crucible and trials, then kill clip is definitely something you want. Now number 9, this is where we're gonna see our first exotic weapon, and it's the Outbreak Perfected, with a 1.06 usage rate, so it's a little higher than the Battler. And it's also another one of those pulse rifles that was affected by the recent pulse rifle buff, so it doesn't really surprise me seeing it here. Especially because it has some fantastic stats, it feels really good to shoot, and it's probably one of the most stable pulse rifles just in the game. This thing is just a laser beam, it doesn't really feel like it has any recoil at all. It's also very accessible. You just have to run the 0-hour mission and you're able to get that outbreak, and whenever you run the legendary version, you could also get the follow perks, the catalyst, to make this weapon even better when you slap on Headseeker on it. And that's really the only thing that you need to really upgrade this weapon into a Crucible beast. Just putting on Headseeker on this thing is basically enough. And I think that's why it's so high and so many people gravitate towards the Outbreak Perfected. You don't really have to worry about farming like a specific role. You basically grab the weapon, slap Headseeker on it, and you have a very strong Crucible pulse rifle that has a lot of forgiveness, and overall is just fairly easy to use. Now number 8, we're gonna have one of the most consistent exotic weapons to ever step into the Crucible, and it's also the oldest weapon in this list, being released all the way back in Forsaken, and it's the one and only, the Ace of Spades. No matter what happens in this game, it seems like the Ace of Spades is never gonna fall off out of the top 10. Whether it's a Henken meta, whether people are playing with bows, with pulse rifles, with sidearms, it doesn't matter what's happening outside of the meta, the Ace of Spades is always here in the top 10. But it's for a good reason. It has some amazing stats, and it has a ton of perks just built into the weapon. It has Firefly to give you some reload speed and also AoE damage whenever you get a precision kill. It keeps your radar up at all times with Third Eye, meaning that you're never surprised because you always just have the radar up on your screen. And lastly, it has an enhanced version of Kill Clip with Memento Mori. Whenever you get a kill, you load some Memento Mori shots into your mag, and they're gonna be doing some extra damage, just like Kill Clip, but the big difference is that they never go away. You don't just have 5 seconds with the extra damage, you have them till you go through all your shots, or till you swap weapons. Meaning that after you get a kill, you're pretty much guaranteed to have that damage buff into the next gunfight, making the next gunfight easier, which then will reload your Memento Mori, and you're gonna be able to do it over and over again. The follow-up that this weapon has is insane, because you're just constantly getting rewarded for getting more kills, which makes follow-up kills just easier. The Ace of Spades was released at a time where the weapons were crazy strong, and it was able to keep up with things like the original Not Forgotten and the Luna's Howl. It has gotten nerfed throughout the years to the state that it's currently at now, but even now it is still very strong, and it being in the top 10, like, what is it now? 7 years after it was released, pretty much shows you that. It is still a fantastic hand cannon. It does have a bit of recoil to it, so it does take a little bit to get used to the Ace, but if you can master it and get comfortable with it, it's definitely going to reward you. And you're going to be able to buy this weapon from the Monuments of Lost Light in the tower, so if you don't have this weapon, you just gotta go there and pick it up, and that's it. On number 7, we're going to have our first special weapon, being the Scavenger's Fate. Now this one is a fairly recent shotgun, but it does come with some of the brand new shotgun perks. Now the shotgun meta is shifting. Being like a newer shotgun just kind of makes sense that it will take advantage of those perks. And so the Scavenger Fate is a very good shotgun with some amazing perks, and it's also very easy to get. It is from the episode Revenant, so you actually might even have some good rolls already, like hitting the vault. But if you do not, you can get this one from Onslaught Salvation, and you can also use the tonic to focus this, so you can get a lot more drops, and so that you're more likely to actually get the perk that you're looking for. So now what are you actually looking for in this weapon? And the two combos you're looking for are pretty similar, either Lone Wolf plus Closing Time, or Slice Shot plus Closing Time. Either of those combos are going to be fantastic and extend your one-shot potential. I would say Lone Wolf plus Closing Time is the better of the two, since you get all that range, plus some of that handling as well. So you get the two things that you really want out of shotgun, so I would say that one's the best, but they're both going to be pretty serviceable. So if you're looking for a shotgun in your energy slot and you don't know what to go for, then the Scavenger's Fate is going to be an amazing choice. Now at number 6, we have the biggest surprise, and it's the Horus Lease Adept with a 1.20% usage rate in the Crucible. So a lot of people are using this, and that really shows you the power of just giving somebody a good roll. So those of you guys that didn't play maybe last season, towards the end of the season, we had this thing where Bungie gave away a couple of weapons, and the Horus Lease Adept was one of those weapons. And it immediately shot for wherever it was. It wasn't anywhere close to the top of the Crucible list, but afterwards now you can see it's in the top 10 of the most used Crucible weapons. Now it is a really good roll. It essentially had Send Moment plus Kill Clip, both perks that are actually amazing on the rapid fire pulse rifles, so it is not a bad roll by any means. Now the rapid fire frames like this pulse rifle are pretty good in the Crucible. They're definitely not bad. I wouldn't say that they're as good as the 450s because those just recently got buffs, but they can definitely put in some work. The only thing about them is that you definitely have to be a lot more accurate with them. If you miss a couple of headshots, then you're definitely going to be punished, and they also don't have as much range as maybe some of the other pulse rifles. But to make up for the downsides, they do have a pretty fast TDK, and once you activate some Kill Clip, you just melt people. There's not really going to be too many weapons that can truly challenge you. Once you have some Kill Clip on a rapid fire frame, you're just going to melt people. So it can definitely be quite a strong weapon. And since an adept version of that weapon, you can also use the adept mods to increase your stability, your range, your reload, but most likely you're going to go for either range or stability depending on what you want. Overall, just making the weapon feel even better and a little bit more tailored to your needs. So this is really great. Hopefully you guys picked this up last season, and if you guys didn't, then there's not really an easy way to actually get this weapon. The easiest way was definitely last season, when they gave it away with the mental tokens. Now with number 5, we're going to go back to the special weapons because we have the Matador 64 with a 1.55 usage rate. Now this shotgun, it is still fantastic. It's a precision frame, which are still like the best type of shotguns to use. Now this weapon comes from the Grasp of Avarice dungeon, and you can get it from the first boss, from the big ogre boss. That's where you farm this weapon. And that is also its biggest downside. that you basically have to get in there and you spray that not only do you get the weapon, but you actually get some good rolls on the weapon. It's probably one of the hardest weapons to actually get from the top 10 because it heavily relies on RNG. So that's pretty much like the biggest downside, but it also has a big payoff because once you do get the good rolls, it is one of the best feeling shotguns in the game. And the roll that you're going to be looking for on this shotgun is going to be threat detector plus opening shot. Opening shot is going to improve your one shot potential, and threat detector is going to give you a ton of handling when it matters, when someone is close. So the weapon itself is going to be pretty fantastic, and the opening shot increasing your one shot potential, it is just like the perfect combo for the shotgun. Now from one of the best shotguns in the game to the best shotgun in the game, we have the Deadlock at number 4 with a 1.65 usage rate. Now this is the competitive weapon from last season, but now that it is no longer the current competitive weapon, you can actually get it a lot easier since all you have to do is actually get your ranking competitive, and then you could buy a couple of them with engrams from shacks. The amount of them that you can actually buy kind of depends on your rank. The higher your rank is, the more shotguns you'll be able to buy per week. Now this weapon is actually very similar to the Matador. It's the same type of frame, being a precision frame, but it just has some crazy base stats, and it can also get some newer perks which make it even better. And the god roll that you pretty much want to go for is going to be threat detector plus closing time. Threat detector is going to give you the handling, it's going to give you the reload, while closing time is essentially opening shot, but even better, giving you even more one shot potential and making this thing just ridiculous. That's what makes it like the best shotgun in the game. Bungie's pretty much been doing this thing where the competitive weapons are the best of their class, and I gotta say that they're doing a pretty good job. And that couldn't be more true with the shotgun. If you want just a really good shotgun in the kinetic slot, it doesn't get any better than Deadlock. Now to start us off in the top 3, we're gonna have the Igneous Hammer with a 1.75 usage rate. Now the Igneous Hammer, I would say that is still the best 120 hand cannon in the game, with some just crazy stats and even better perks. This thing has so many different perk combinations that make it good, and it's very consistent, and sometimes it really surprises you with the type of headshots it gives you. Sometimes you think you miss, but the weapon just decides that no, it's actually gonna hit that shot, and you get some crazy shots with this weapon. The range, the stability, the aim assist, everything is great on this hand cannon. The range, the aim assist, the handling, all of those stats are above average on this weapon, making it the perfect 120 hand cannon. And even though this weapon was already pretty great before and pretty popular, it definitely got a popularity boost with, again, the Vento token event that happened right before Heresy, because Bungie gave away a pretty decent roll. I wouldn't say a god roll this weapon, but a pretty decent roll. So I'm sure a huge amount of people that were playing last season got their hands on this thing and have been loving it. Another perk combo that you're looking for on this weapon is going to be Precision Instrument plus Keep Away. But if you got the Fragile Focus plus Precision Instrument roll, then that's also going to be a pretty good one. At number 2, we're going to have another hand cannon, the Rose, with a 2.0 usage rate, and this is the competitive hand cannon. You're going to be able to get this one the same way that we got the shotgun, which is playing competitive till you get your competitive rank, and then go into shacks and being able to purchase them with engrams. Just like with the shotgun, the rank that you are will depend how many hand cannons you can actually get per week. The Rose has pretty much been like the go-to crucible hand cannon ever since it was released, and it's for a good reason. It is the only lightweight frame 140, meaning that it's got some fantastic handling, and you also move faster with this weapon. So overall that just gives you a huge boost to your mobility, and the way that you play with this weapon, it just feels better to use. It also goes with some amazing stats and a stacked perk pool. And the rolls that you're going to be looking for on this weapon are either going to be Explosive Payload plus Slice Shot, or Slice Shot and Opening Shot. Both of the rolls are going to give you extra range and stability thanks to Slice Shot. Opening Shot is also going to make it easier to hit some hits, and with Explosive Payload, you're going to have the added extra flinch you're going to be hitting with every single time, just making it harder for somebody to actually return fire on you, and making it more likely that you're going to basically win the gunfight. Getting hit by the explosive rounds from Rose is definitely not fun when you're also trying to 3-tap them with your hand cannon. So that extra flinch definitely gives you a bit of an advantage in the like 1v1 gunfights. And that is basically what this weapon excels at. You can pretty much never go wrong with the Rose, it's always going to be a good choice. And you could say that the Rose is actually the most popular weapon in the Crucible, with an asterisk. But that's because there's just such a broken combo out there with the last word, and the Radiant Dance machines that there was gonna be no way that the last word was number 1. I mean, look at the stats right here. Look at the usage rate, the kills, the headshots. This thing is essentially dominating every game that it's in, and there's usually gonna be like 5, 6, maybe even more of them in a single game. This thing is essentially just insane right now. There is nothing that can really compete with the last word, except another last word. But thankfully Bungie is gonna be disabling the interaction between the last word and also the Radiant Dance machines, so it will no longer get the extra accuracy range that is making it just be a menace in the Crucible. Now, they're not doing anything to the Radiant Dance machines, and that does open the possibility for some other things, but I don't think there's gonna be something as crazy as the last word, although there might be some things that get pretty close, especially a specific primary ammo trace rifle that recently got added, that might become an issue. But we'll see whenever Trials arrives if that thing is all over the place, because we might have a laser tag weekend on our hands. But yeah, the last word is just hands down the best weapon in the Cruiser right now, although later on this week you'll definitely start to see it a lot less. And for those of you guys that are wondering, you can get the last word from also the Monuments of Light, essentially the same place where you picked up the Ace, but it's just in a different tab. But yeah, those are gonna be the most popular and best weapons for the Crucible. This is what people are using, this is what the meta is looking like, so you want to keep in mind this when heading into Trials in a couple of days. But let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about this list. Was this pretty much the weapons you expected to see? Was there something in here that you weren't expecting to see at all? Did you expect to see something here that wasn't here? Just let me know what you guys think in the comments below, or if you want to share what weapon you've been enjoying in the Crucible, also let me know that in the comments below. Anyways, thank you for watching today. There will be some Trials streams this weekend, so go follow me on Twitch, or there will be some on this channel as well, in case you want to check this out as well. With that, we're gonna wrap up today's video, so take care everyone, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.